Hey guys! Alright, so today's tutorial is a newbie. It's the ice cream palette from Dose of Colours. Alright, so this is what the palette looks like. You've got 5 shimmers and 5 mattes. Great combination of colours. I would definitely recommend it for the more experienced makeup artist because combining these colours together does take a little bit of creativity. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure you would tend to just stick around this area here, and I think that although the quality of the shadows is really good, I found them easy to work with. I found them very true to colour, blendable. The shimmers, I will say, they're a little bit weaker. I mean, they're certainly not metallics like the ones you get from Natasha Denona or in the Violet Voss palette or in the Morphe palette or anything like that. But for a nice just blend of shimmer, they are really nice. And you got your highlight colour, so there is a good spread of colours, and I find this one, I like this one a lot. We're going to prime the face for this look with the Peel Active Oil-Free Balancing Serum. It's a great light moisturiser, especially for oily skin. It does have salicylic acid in it to keep exfoliating those pores for you throughout the day. And I'm putting the base on first. I'm using the Chanel Healthy Glow Foundation in the shade number 30. And I'm putting that on with the Morphe 439 buffing brush. Just working that in circular motions. This is a light sheer to medium coverage foundation. I'm just buffing it in with this brush to try and build up that coverage a little bit. Just giving this time to sink into the skin a little bit before, and then I'll go on to the eyes. You can go in whatever order you please. Eyes first, then foundation, or foundation, then eyes. I'm just going to cover up some of my blemishes and breakouts with this Becca Compact Concealer. This one's an old favourite of mine, just does not highlight them in any way, shape or form. This is the Models Prefer Airbrush Concealer Brush. It's just going to also help me to buff that foundation into the pores around my nose and anywhere else. Alright, now we have the face under control. We're going to prime the eyelids with the Too Faced Shadow Insurance Primer. I quite like this one. It doesn't dry my eyelids out too much. Some primers make me look like I'm about 80. And my eyelids go really, really wrinkly. This one I find doesn't do that so much, which is good. I'm just buffing that in with my fingers, as you can see. And I'm just going to set that with my MAC Mineralized Finish powder. This one's just the same one that I set my face with. And now I'm going to pop my eyebrows on. I like to do this before the eyeshadow look, just so I really can keep the area nice and clean. And I just carve out the bottom of my eyebrow just to really sharpen that area up. And then I flip over to the top outside of the brow. This is a bit of a safety precaution that I use. It just means that I keep that brow bone area really clean of product, so I've got tons of space, and of course do a little dance when you get it right, because we all know how hard brows can be. So again, just carve out the bottom, and then create that stronger arch. And I just elongate the brow slightly, making it a little bit longer. And then we switch to the end, the gel end of the Brow Duo. This is the Pixie Brow Duo. This one's in the colour Deep Brunette. So it has the defining pencil on the end, and then on the other end you switch and pull out the brow gel. 2 products in one. What more can you ask for? No, this one's definitely a favourite, especially when you're travelling. It's one less product you have to pack. So here we go with the ice cream palette. So I'm just going to go down and lay down that lightest shade under the brow bone And just to make sure I've got a really nice clean base to work with, this is my MAC 239 brush. This shade is called Berries and Cream. It does have a slightly pink undertone to it, even though it's coming up here as really quite white on camera. It is more of a beige colour, which is fine for my skin tone because I do have pinky undertones. So this just gives us a make sure that that eyelid primer that we used is really set, and just laying down another powder to just make sure we've got heaps of blending. So I've just zoomed in here for you because we're going to go in now with the second colour. I've still got the same brush, the MAC 239, and this is the colour from the palette. It's a matte shade, it's called Cone. It's probably the only real transition shade that you can use in the palette, and because these shadows were a little bit dusty, not saying that's necessarily a negative because the pans are quite big, so if they were tiny little pans that would definitely be a downfall, but you do get a bit of product in this, so you don't mind so much powdery kickback happening. But because they are a little bit powdery, I'm just using the technique of really pushing it onto the eyelid first and then going in with my blending brush and fluffing off that edge. And just because I did lay that foundation down first, it just does mean that I really don't want any fall down happening in the under eye area. And these blended off really nicely. This is the Morphe 441 brush that I'm using to buff that with. Okay, so now we're going to lay down our second shade. This one's called Blueberry Swirl. It's also a matte colour, and I just wanted to use this colour to tie the browns in with the lavender colour that we're going to use later on. And I was also pushing myself to use some of the less comfortable shades in the palette. So we just, same technique, press it down onto the eyelid and then buff it off. So this is just going just below that cone colour, trying to keep it off the eyelid a little bit. And then back with my Morphe 441 brush to blend that off. Actually, sorry, I do apologise, that is actually the MAC 317 brush that I'm using to buff there. It's so similar. So you could very easily use the Morphe brush if you wanted to. Anything with long bristles. So now back with the 239 brush, and we're now packing on the Hot Fudge colour, which is the fourth matte colour in the palette. And this is just going to create some depth on the eyelid. And back with the blending brush, the MAC 317. So I do pack it onto a smaller area than where I want to blend it to, because these did blend pretty well. I didn't want to blend all over my eye and give myself a black eye, so we just pack it onto a little area and then blend it out. Now I just went back and decided that I wanted to put some of that Hot Fudge colour into that middle area. The inner corner, sorry, and then just blend that off a little bit. This brush is actually the Sigma tapered blending brush, the E35. Just blending those together. So I decided to take that in a little bit more because I didn't want to rely on that lavender look to create the whole look of this. I didn't want my eyes to look too far apart, so I've just brought that chocolate colour in to round off my eyes a little bit. So now we start packing on the lavender colour. This is called Lavender Honey. It's the MAC purple that's in the palette. And this is the MAC 242 brush that I'm using. Now purples are always quite hard to work with. It is the nature of the pigment that's in those colours. So this did take a little bit of patience just to build up the colour and also blend it into the hot fudge colour that we laid down before it. I didn't get too much fallout or anything, so it wasn't crazy difficult, just did require a little bit of patience. But there aren't too many purples out there that I've seen that do go on like a dream. And I did like the fact that this purple was quite buildable. We're just doing the same with the other eyelid. And you want to take this up a little bit higher, as you can see that I'm doing here, because we are putting a winged eyeliner onto this look. You don't want to completely disappear it and undo all your hard work. We still want that lavender colour really popping through on the eyelid. Alright, so winged eyeliner time. Pressure. So I've got the Zoeva 317 brush and the Maybelline Blackest Black gel eyeliner. So I just put my angles on first on both eyes to make sure that I'm tracking right. I find this is the absolute foolproof method of getting the same on both eyes, because there's nothing worse than spending 20 minutes on one eyeliner on one eye and then you go to the other side and spend 20 minutes on it and you've got two complete different types of wings going on there. So I find if I get my angle right, I then just have to follow on. Now my eyeliner gel pot did give me a little bit of grief, so it was grabbing on my eyelid a little bit. So Beth, there's two things you can do to fix this. If you're lucky enough to have the Inglot Duraline additive drops that you can put into basically any gel liner, they are great to make your gel eyeliner a little bit more liquefied. Now I've never even come across personally, and I've had a lot of them, a gel eyeliner that I've ever even got so much as halfway through without it drying out on me. So these drops have saved me so many times. However, I didn't have them with me, so the second best trick is pop the eyeliner in the microwave for 5 seconds. I don't know how long your eyeliner is going to last after that. They tend to end up in the garbage not long after I've zapped them in the microwave, just through pure frustration. But you can do it repeatedly. I have done it before, but I just find if you're in a jam, zapping it in the microwave, obviously not with the metal lid on, just a little glass jar with no lid, just for 5 seconds, I find works a real treat. So on to the second eyelid now. And we're just keeping these wings quite fine because, like I said before, we don't want to overpower that lavender colour that we have going on there. Now I just wanted to keep this in real timing for you guys today so you can see the reality behind and the frustration behind wing liner. It is never as easy as it looks. I mean, some people do have it down pat. I certainly don't. So it does take me a little while, but I just wanted to keep it really real. With this one. So I tend to put my outside corners on and then work from the inner corner to the outer corner. And just keep checking from one eye to the other that you've got the same thickness going on both eyes. And make sure you do check with your eyes open, because that's when you can really tell that your eyeliner is wonky. Or your flicks may not go up high enough, because you might just end up with little really curly tails looking things when you open your eye. You do want to make sure that you've taken it up high enough so that it looks good both when your eye is closed and when your eye is open. And when you're working on that inner corner, just really take your time, because it's happened to me many times. You can hit this one sensitive spot and then end up with eyeliner all over your eyelid. So just really work it delicately into that middle area there. And we're just popping some mascara on. This is the Revlon Grow Luscious Plumping Mascara. It was just the closest thing to me. I don't necessarily prefer this one or anything, and I knew I wasn't leaving this makeup on for a long period of time, so I didn't have to pull out my sensitive mascara. You can save that. In hindsight, I really should have gone in with my eyelash curler here. I was having a not so great eyelash day, but anyway, these babies will soon make up for that. So we've got the Flutter lashes in the style Slayla. Thank you, Jaclyn Hill, for this recommendation of these eyelashes. I've been watching her Snapchat and she's been going on and on about them, and it's for good reason. These did not disappoint. These eyelashes are truly awesome. And they were super easy to put on. I don't ever put on eyelashes with my fingers. It just never happens. But these ones were super easy. So gotta love that. I just did use the House of Lashes glue, which is the best glue I've ever used in my whole life. So can't recommend that high enough. But we're ready to go in now with the concealer. And this is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. And this is the shade Fair, or number 15. So we're going under the eye, down the nose, onto the chin, around the nostril area. And we're buffing in with that same Models Prefer concealer brush that we used to start with. Now I put way too much down the middle of my nose, so I did have to go back in with my 439 brush and a little bit of that Healthy Glow foundation, just to take a little bit of that off. Now you can see that is working a little bit better now. I'm just buffing the rest on there. So now I'm going to set this with the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Medium Plus, setting that under eye area. So this is more of a daytime makeup. I haven't got a full coverage foundation on. I just tend to like to keep it a bit lighter during the day, hence why I'm also not baking the under eye area or anything like this. Just really pressing that into the skin because I want that foundation to really last for me. Now we're just buffing out the under eye area with the Morphe E24 pencil brush. And we're going in with Cone, Hot Fudge, and then the first shimmer colour that I've used today, and that's in Double Scoop. It's the brown shimmer colour, and then I'm just buffing that out with the Models Prefer cream eyeshadow brush. And then in that inner corner, I'm using the colour, the other shimmer colour in the palette, which is Sherbet, because I just wanted to open up that inner half of the eye. And my eyes do go super red whenever I touch that under eye area, so we'll just have to wait a minute for those to calm down. And for bronzer, we're going in with my trusty Becca Low Light Sculpting bronzer with the Morphe M527 brush. Just giving a light dusting under the cheekbones, up through the temples, around the hairline, and then blending that down the neck area as well. I was listening to some music while I was doing it. Oh, so guys, this is the new blush that I picked up. It's the Milani Luminoso blush, and this is the e.l.f. blushing brush. Now the big shock factor was when I opened it, and that was the first time I'd actually opened it since I got it. I thought the whole lot fell onto the floor, but it was only the free little brush thingy that you get with it. So for highlight today, this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills highlight kit in the shade Moonstone and the shade Summer, mixing those two together, dusting them on the cheekbones. And the camera picked this up really nicely, which is always handy. This is not my favourite highlighter palette. They're just, they're okay. Pretty good value, 4 colours for $57. That comes back to Australian dollars. So look for 4 highlighters, but are they the best formula in the world? Definitely not. This is so I've just lined my lips with the Kylie Cosmetics lip liner in the shade Coco K, and going over that with the NARS lip gloss in the shade Orgasm. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and good luck if you decide to try it at home. Thanks guys.